Hello, for the few people that are here forever. This is a strange one. Not really sure, man. It's been a year and a half since I had a piece of my brain removed. Still ain't used to that sentence. And I'm not sure if it was the right thing to do, you know? Uh, Long story short, I still have seizures. Now, I haven't had a full one, but if anything, that's just because I'm extra cautious. Now, when I start to feel like I'm having one, your seizure rescue medicine, or I let it play out a little and they just haven't turned into a full one. Now, the doctor says that could be the sign of a less than 100% uh, win for them. You know how doctors talk. If you have four arteries blocked and you have a heart attack and you don't have another heart attack, in their mind, they won, or not win, but you know what I'm saying. So my brain surgery went as planned, I guess. But now, a year and a half later, you just notice a lot of patterns, a lot of personality differences. Now, I'm also still heavily medicated, actually upped since I'm still having the what they call the deja vus, the little indicator that you're about to have a seizure. So now, again, that's why since I haven't had a full one, but I'm still having those tremors, it's not considered 100% correct. But when they take a piece of your brain out, uh, it's not like anything else. So, long story, long story, they basically want to go in and take more out. Now, a few things have changed. Uh, One is I live alone now. So, the beautiful woman in my other photos, my ex wife, is no longer here. Um, Now, two reasons. I mean, reasons are not what I mean. Now, two things. One, she's a real human being that had a real job, so I was able to get my brain surgery through her amazing insurance. I do not have that luxury. My insurance is a part-time teacher assistant insurance. No, no knock on them, but it's certainly not going to cover like whatever it was, like $400,000 worth of brain surgery. And leading up to that, when you're in the hospital for 10 days and yeah, observation and stuff, I can't imagine any of that's cheap. And no knock on the school system, I don't think that is going to be covered. So now it's a whole separate questions. How, one, if I want to go have people take a part of my brain out again, which again, now I'm starting to see pattern differences and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know if that was from the brain being removed or not. So that's a major, major, major thing, you know. Uh, as many as as much as people were already nervous the first time I got it, where one small clip and all of a sudden you're like this for the rest of your life. It's your brain. It's pretty important. So now nothing physical happened, but I am not the same person. I am definitely not the same person. You ask anybody that knows me, I am not the same person. Good and bad, right? Now, loneliness is a rough one, man. I was a slightly party kind of guy. So, you had real friends and then party friends, and then just people that fall in between, right? Now, when you first disappear from that world, no one really knows why, You just like, did you move? Did you quit drinking and drugging? Whatever it is. Now, people know why I left, so to speak, or why I stopped hanging out with some people. Now, whose side was it on? Nobody wants to be on uh, a fun trip and then someone has a seizure, right? Yeah, how about we just not invite that person? Hey, we're gonna have a great party, but if they show up, they might have a seizure, and that would turn the party pretty dark. So, you don't hear from them as much. Now, again, no self-loathing, but you wonder how much is just natural progression of people's lives change. But that group party are still parties together. So how much is it just based on age versus like, yeah, I don't want to be around a dude that has seizures. So whatever. That's already happened. So that's never going to be a back. When I show up, you can tell certain people are like, "Ooh, shit. Yeah, I don't want to deal with that." Right? I get it. That's fine. Uh, Now the harder part is again being single now. I don't know what date number that shows up, right? So say, you're into somebody, they're into you. What date number do you say, "Oh, by the way, I had seizures, really intense seizures. Do you want to see one?" And yeah, that's gonna take a certain person. And yeah, that isn't important either. The most important part right now is if I decide to have people go remove more parts of my brain without that insurance. So it might be a misnomer. What's that word? Misnomer? I might just cancel each other out to be like, hey, you have insurance? Yeah, this. Like, okay, well, that covers 10% of a $400,000 surgery. You're not having surgery. That's it. Or somehow, you're a charity case or whatever. And they're like, yeah, yeah, we can, do this $50,000 surgery for 500 bucks. You're like, hmm. So now it's not the money. Now it's, do I want these people cutting out my brain again? Right. At first, I did it gung ho. Not, I wouldn't say gung ho, but it was an intelligent decision. Something you don't plan on, so they ask you, and they're like, "Well, gee, it's either yes or no." Yes. Now, I don't know, man. You never really expect to hear, "Hey, do you want to have parts of your brain removed?" Right? But now, then you wonder how much is this medication? Because before, whatever the milligrams were, it went up to a certain number. Because again, once you uh, staying straying from the subject, but I listen to a lot of stand-up comedy. We deal with it longer, we can deal with more of it, blah blah blah. Which is funny because I've won a lot of pain contests growing up and stuff. I never gave it that much of a thought, but you'll hear people say, "Oh, it's from your redhead berserker Viking heritage," and all whatever the fuck. But either way, supposedly redheads have a higher threshold for pain tolerance, blah 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 blah, including drugs. Now, growing up, I could always, handle them. I could always take a little more than people around, all that good stuff. So same with the seizure meds. Every med they started me on just went up a little, went up a little, went up a little, went up a little. When they did it to this one drug, I don't want to name names. The one drug when they bumped it up because I'm still having them, I was like, "Yo, we got to turn this down." I am basically a non-jovial Job of the Hut. I just sit there. You're like, "Oh, there's a bird. Yeah. Oh, it was." I mean, I could have watched someone being stabbed and probably be like, "Oh, that sucks. Wish I could help." When you can, you get up and stop the murder. But yeah, so they peeled it down, and I felt 1,000 times better again. Then, so whatever time frame that was, slowly it's being built up again. So slowly, like I say, after the brain surgery, I take notes when they happen and stuff. The most recent was 3 days ago, or maybe even two. Now, so far it was the best one at me noticing how far away I was from a full seizure. You get the deja vu, like, oh, and I didn't, even though this was right next to me. For those that don't know what this is when you're starting to feel a seizure, you shoot this in your nose and it stops it. And I have used it 3 times before. Not this is a single use, but I have used them 3 times in the past and they have worked. This time I was feeling confident enough Uh, Also, as a good um, data, as any data, you see how far until you have one, so you can tell your doctor, oh, well, this time it was 60%. This time it was really close, 80%. This time it was only 20. One of those. This is probably the lowest. So I talked to my neurologist, and I have a regular scheduled John coming up in about a month, right? Because she knows that they've been getting more increase. So now, unfortunately, we bumped up those damn drugs again. So, as I say, I don't know which is which. I'm a different person. I don't know how much is a percentage of the drug increase versus a percentage of them taking out your brain versus a percentage of now living alone without the beautiful woman. So it's a lot to take in, right? Also, finding jobs, right? You know. So luckily, not luck, I guess, but I got a job with the school system. And on that damn list, do you suffer from any one of these? Now, usually it doesn't have all the names typed out. It just says, do you suffer from a medical thing? You just say yes or no, blah, blah. This one had it on the list, epilepsy. And I was terrified. I'm like, this is working with school children. I can't lie, but I have to say epilepsy. And that could very easily be like one of those, if you're going through the paperwork, you're like, oh, here's this guy looks good for a job. Oh, wait, epilepsy in front of children. Yeah, skip, right? You're always at that fear when I mean, I guess any truth telling experience, but yeah, so telling the truth on that application was terrifying. It's a good school. Uh, I'm not a teacher, so, you're just basically your babysitter kind of. So wow, thank God I got that job because they're great kids. It's a cool school. No one will ever believe I said that. Holy shit. Past people. So yeah, school is fun. I mean, not when you're in it. I didn't notice that, but being able to hang out with kids all day is pretty goddamn fun. Kids don't know any better yet. The younger ones, they still think life is great. So you basically try not to tell them the truth and try not to bum them out too much. So yeah, so that's nerve wracking, So they give me the job after I told the truth. You have to, you're like, great. Wasn't even thinking of lying, but I wasn't expecting that question. So you're like, oh shit. So I have a job as a teacher assistant with epilepsy. Now, I also work in a nightclub, but they're used to weird shit there. If you have an epileptic seizure in a nightclub, they're just gonna think it's from drugs and they'll be like, just hire somebody else. Uh, Having a seizure in front of the kids it hurts my heart. Every day I go into school, I'm basically scared, unless I ignore it like all life, but I try to ignore it so that I can focus on it. Right now, only once did I have to, holy Christ. Well, I had like a basically show up a half hour early and wait from the playground. In that half hour, I got the moment. I'm in the teacher's bathroom, doing the stare off, and it worked. Thank God it worked. Now, again, who knows how much is this, or since I never had a full seizure from my surgery, or a combination. All I know is it's nerve wracking, right? These kids are great. Next year it's going to be different kids. Not that that matters, but uh, I can't imagine what teachers, not teachers as much as parents, right? So it's a good enough school. There's some bougie kids or whatever, whatever word you want to use. I never really, I forget school is what school is really for. Is to train life, so they try to do better in life, all that crap. So you can only imagine if I have a seizure in front of kids and what some of their parents be like, oh my God, do you know what my child witnessed today? They witnessed a grown man blah, 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 blah. Did you know he had seizures? Is that a good idea to put my kid through that? All this stuff, obviously nothing to do with me. All that, that's on my head, right? So these are all things I got to deal with right now. That's why I'm making this video for the first time in a while. And it wasn't supposed to be this long, but you know. Oh, Robin. Hey, Robin. I don't know what that means. Uh, so there's a chat. I had to respond to the chat. Sorry. Thank you for watching. So yeah, basically right now is a crazy nexus of a lot of things. First time living alone, right? Since seizures. And again, do not blame anything on anybody. I am not. I was amazed I found anyone that loved me enough to marry me in the first place. And then unfortunately I didn't have seizures when we got together. Now, if you ask my one uncle, he's the best. He says, huh, you never had a seizure until you got married. Huh. He's one of those guys. So which one is it, right? What's up, buddy? No, I won't name his name, but he knows which uncle he is. I have many of them. So yeah, so I never had a seizure, met a beautiful woman, got married, started having seizures, right? She left. Don't blame her. Peace. Thank you for your time. Oh man, hold on. We're not crying. We're not gonna cry. So yeah, boom, blah blah blah. Back to being alone. Never had, I grew up more or less alone. I'm a, what do you call them? Uh, individual artist, blah 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 blah, loner kind of thing, right? Now, being a loner with seizures is a whole separate scary thing. Uh, so yeah, the whole point is now, do I just deal with it and not have more surgery and just deal with the changes that happened, including uh, the medication upgrade? Excuse me. But basically, the whole point of the surgery is so they don't have to just keep up in the meds. Oh, X amount of time later, having seizures still up the med, just blah, 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 blah. Right? So, yeah, I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know if I flip a coin. First of all, seeing the x ray after, oh my God, visual dude. I guess I don't know what the hell I was expecting, but to see an X-ray of your brain after brain surgery, like the spot in between, it is wild. You have all this stuff that looks organized, and you just have this like this little thing. You're like, what the hell, man? That's a scar on your brain. That has to affect you. The greatest neurosurgeons in the world, whatever, they can't tell what's going to really happen. So you're basically throwing darts at a dartboard. Hopefully, you get a bullseye. But there's a lot of numbers and a lot of sections and stuff, and depending on what game you're playing. So I threw the dart, didn't get a bullseye. Now I don't know if I'm gonna play darts again. Uh, yeah, man, right? So to anybody out there, I have no real answers for you. I just haven't said hi in a while. And today in particular, I said, you know what? I gotta vent. Is vent? I don't know about venting. There's no anger in it. Uh, it's raining here in Philly, so this is, and I got to work later tonight. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna say hi to the people about the fact that I might have to get brain surgery again after having brain surgery. That I don't know if it went well, because your brain's a very complex thing. Now I didn't come out of the brain surgery like this, so again, it's a win. But when you notice little things, you're like, God damn, I don't really painting and art or anything. I haven't made anything in a while, and even little stuff. Again, I never really knew why I did it to begin with. I didn't really. I'm not a terrible marketer. I'm not just someone that's like, buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit. So what do you make it for? You know, you make it to sell it, but you also just do it to pass the time and see what you can come up with, kind of thing. It's like a self challenge thing. So who knows? Yeah. So now I have to be very, very animate about, dude, you need to make something. So, I got some pieces started around here and finished now. key was the smaller ones. So now I've been finishing a lot of smaller drawings instead of trying to make these giant masterpieces that you really are just passing the time. You're not really making it for an audience. And that's the tricky part about being an artist, period. Why do you do it? You know? But now, so now another reason I don't make it as much is now that I'm divorced, I'm way more in the rut, or not the rut. What do they call it? The trenches. I gotta deal with money more. So yeah, so I have two jobs, and so now with the two real jobs, the free time is meant for relaxing as opposed to trying to make stuff, which is stressful in a way. But at the end of the day, the result's nice. Now you're like, huh, what am I doing? Like, should I watch TV? Like, I don't want to fucking watch TV again. Like, that's not productive. Blah, blah. Boom. So you make something. And then just the act of creation is enjoyable. Before, just being an idiot, I never knew why I created it to begin with because I never tried to sell it that much. You just made it because it was passing the time, you know? And then you just keep doing it because what the fuck? What else are you going to do? So, yeah, so I've been better at that, streamlining it, making more with both and both theories, making it because I enjoy it, whether you sell it or not. But without making it, you have no option of trying to sell it. So if it's not created, you have no option, period. So now I get it more just because I'm an idiot. Uh, yeah. So, and art sales have been some of the best. Uh, for anybody that remembers, I have a pretty deep stoop. And a stoop is your steps going into your front door. I don't know what you call them in other cities, but Philly, it's a stoop. And I live on a pretty big uh, street, so I have deep stoop. It's like 8 steps, pretty wide. So either way, so I sit on my stoop and I have a lot of foot traffic, and I do pretty well. So that's another reason they're a little smaller now. People are like, oh, how much is that picture there? You're like, oh, that's pretty big. That's like 800. Like, someone on the street is probably not going to spend 800 bucks on your art. But I was amazed when someone spent more than 200. You're like, wow, okay. And the worst is when they say, "Oh, that's it." They're like, "How much is that piece?" You're like, 200. Like, "Oh, that's it. I'll buy it." You're like, "Wow, that's it." You're like, "You can give me more." I'm terrible with pricing. You guys tell me how much does this cost? How much is that? Right? Who the fuck knows? Uh, and I never count on materials either. So whenever I say, "Yeah, it's about blank," you're like, "Oh man, that was half of that was already in materials." Shit. But having a stoop and no gallery, you don't have to pay the gallery fees and split the money. So either way, it is odd. Thank you for anyone that was actually here. Who knows what comes next? Uh, it's some scary shit, or scary. So anybody else out there, good luck. I still suggest you try it. I mean, without trying it, without getting anything done to it, your brain's exactly the same. Surgery is a little hopeful, but it's also extremely scary. So, um, is the glass half empty or full? I have no idea. I spilled my glass a long time ago. Goodbye.